Hello friends, this is David Sami with a Christian Journey. Today I wanted to talk about 5 things to keep in mind when you're looking for a spouse. I know most of us, when we are trying to buy a car, we usually have certain criteria. There are certain things that we are looking for. That way, we are able to identify the right car when we see those criteria in that car. But I think most of us have not really sat down and thought about what are we looking for in a spouse. What are some of the things that are essentials? What are our criteria? Now, if you haven't done that, I highly recommend that you begin to write down your criteria. How do you know you have found the right person? Most of us, we think, well, we happen to meet someone and we are somewhat attracted to them and we seem to have things in common. Well, they have to be the right one. Well, not necessarily. And that's why I think it's important to sit down and take a moment and write down what are you looking for? What are your criteria as an individual? Now, these 5 things that I'm going to be talking about are very general, very broad things to keep in mind as you make your own criteria. And I'm giving these things from a Christian perspective, but it can be applied to really anyone because it's so broad and it's a more or less overall objective things to consider when we are looking for a spouse. The number one thing is the commonality of beliefs, values, and directions of life. You see, in a long run, what makes a good marriage is if we both have the same beliefs, same values, and we basically want to go in the same directions in life. Because if you have certain ideas and beliefs and values and you're going this way, and your spouse has the opposite point of view of things, we are going to come in conflict. Everything will become a struggle because you're going this way, but the other person is going the other way. But you may say, well, you can't help who you fall in love with. Yes, you can. If you only draw from the pool of people that have the same values and beliefs. Do not consider someone outside of that pool of people that are your values, your beliefs, and basically want to go in the same direction as you are. If you are a Christian, you only want to consider another person that is Christian. If you've been going out with someone for a short time and you discover they are not Christian, don't raise the expectation in a relationship too soon, too fast, until you know for sure that the other person is a Christian too. Because if they are not, you need to part ways. It is essential to have the same faith, same values, same belief, and basically wanting to go in the same direction. Now, if you are a Christian, ask the Lord, is this the right person for me? I know when I was looking for a spouse and I met my wife, I asked the Lord constantly to show me in a clear way that I would know that she's the right person. And I believe He had shown me that indeed she is the right person. So ask the Lord, is this the right person for me? And also watch and see if spirituality matters to the other person. Do they enjoy reading the Bible? Do they enjoy going to church? Do they like to fellowship with other believers? Don't force them, but as you are evaluating them, watch and see if these things matter. Watch to see if what they profess matches what they do. So because everybody, can say things, but do they really mean what they say? And do they really genuinely want to seek after God, live a godly life, and have the same direction as you do? So keep that in mind. The principle number 1 is the commonality of belief, value, and direction of life. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is be aware of subjectivism. And what I mean by that is be aware of subjective opinion when people will come and tell you, oh, the Lord told me that we should be together. The Lord told me that we should be married. You see, today, unfortunately, we use these phrases so commonly that most of the time, any impressions that come to our mind, we think the Lord is speaking to us. And we begin to project that outside into other people, that the Lord told me this, or the Lord said this. Be careful about that. You want your evaluation be on a basis of objective opinion, not subjectivism, not based on someone's impression or someone's feeling and what they tell you you ought to be doing. So keep that in mind. And also be careful if the person is a new believer. You see, I have seen this over the years. There are some who maybe have had many issues in the past. They become a believer and they sincerely begin to go in a new direction. And in a few years, they become a solid person. But unfortunately, I have seen the other way as well. I have seen people that have had issues in life, but in the emotion and excitement of moment, they make a profession of faith, they come to Christ, but as they begin to go in that direction, just the discipline and things that it takes to become a solid Christian, it becomes too much, and the lure and the pull of the old life will begin to pull them back into the same patterns and same behaviors and same molds. So be aware, if you are dating someone who is relatively a new believer, you want to see some track record. You want to see some time to really see if this person is really genuinely converted and wants to go after God, or was this just a short-term excitement and we made a decision, but it's not really something that was from the heart. So be careful if the other person is a new believer. Now, the principle number 2, the second thing to consider is have your parents involved in the process. You see, your parents, if you're a young person and you're still living at home, your parents have accumulated years of experience. They are the one who have raised you. They are the one who know you. And they can probably have a good idea who may be a right fit for you, who would match you. So have your parents involved. If you are dating someone and things are beginning to not quite get serious, but you see potential in this relationship, bring them home and ask your parents to take a look at them and evaluate them and let you know what their thoughts are, and value their opinion. Don't discount it, because they have all the experience. They have years of experience. They know you, and they may see red flags that you don't. But if they do tell you that, honey, I see these red flags, see if you can address those red flags with the person that you're dating. See if those things can be resolved. But you may say, well, me and my parents, we just don't see eye to eye. We're just totally different people. Even if you are, talk to them about, mom, dad, who do you think would be a right fit for me? And bring up the conversation about what to look for in a spouse, what they think would be the right person for me. And then you can tell them your ideas, your opinions. And, first, try to listen to them and then try to be understood. Most of the time we feel like our parents don't understand us because we are not really giving a chance to them to express their views, express their thought before we express ours. So give them a chance to tell you their thoughts first and then seek to be understood. Explain to them where you are coming from and to come into the same page. But have your parents involved. If you are an adult who is outside of your parents' house, Bring the person that you're considering to someone that you feel like they are a godly person, someone that you respect their spiritual level and their maturity, and have them to evaluate as well. A second pair of eyes with experience, looking at that individual and listen to what they have to say. So have your parents or someone who you respect spiritually to be involved in this process and value their opinion. Number 3, consider the individual. Look at their character. What are they like? Are they dependable? Are they reliable? Are they the man of their words? Do they follow through with what they say? Does what they say match what they do, or are they just phony? Look at the character of the individual. Don't correct them in a relationship, but allow them to show you who they really are, their patterns of behavior, their hobbies, what are they like, without you trying to correct them or manipulate them, because you want to see this person for who they really are like, not the person that you are trying to make them to be. And you want to see if you two are a right fit for each other without you having to correct this person. So allow them to show who they are without you correcting them. As you consider the person, keep this thing in mind too. Do you like this person? Do you have things in common with them? Do you enjoy their company? Do you converse easily with them? Does conversation come easy? Do you have the somewhat similar interests? It doesn't have to be identical, but that there is a similarity. We have a similar interest in things. Our outlook are kind of somewhat close. You see, you may come across someone who has all the criteria, but we just don't gel with each other. Things aren't easy. Everything seems to be a struggle. Even when we are out with each other, we can't just be at ease and talk. The conversation is a struggle. You see, that is not the right person for you, even though they may have all the criteria, because they are not the right match. It's no one's fault, but we are not the right match. They may be a perfect match for somebody else and you for somebody else, but you two are not the right fit. So consider, do you like this person? And does things come easy? Number 4, principle 4 is don't try to be this person's savior. Now, this may be a surprise as a criteria, but I have seen this over the years. Many times people make the mistake of becoming someone's savior, and then slowly the dynamic in a relationship changes. It goes from helping someone to maybe get over certain things or come alongside someone to help them to get their life together. It slowly begin to change from that type of relationship, and it takes on a romantic relationship. And then we begin to consider them for marriage. But I have seen this many times. After a period of time, you begin to take on a constant correction mode with the other person, because you have been the one who have tried to help them, who have tried to fix them. So you keep telling them what they should do, what they shouldn't do, and after a while this would frustrate the other person, and they will begin to tell you, hey, you know, you are trying to change me, you are trying to mold me into something that you want, but I'm not that person. But you see, God is that person's savior. But being someone's savior is not a good foundation for marriage. You already want to consider someone who's your equal and is your right fit with the right criteria. If you are in a relationship that you're helping someone, keep it at that level. Be very careful to not allow it to become a romantic relationship unless all the bases are covered, because more often than not, I have seen those relationships backfires rather than turning out to be something that is positive and something that was, the way it was meant to be. So don't be someone's savior. Allow God to be their savior. You can be their encourager, but this is not a good foundation for marriage. Number 5, look at this person's family. You don't just marry a person, you also marry their family. See how the family members relate to each other. Look at the way the parents relate to each other. How is their relationship? If you are a young lady and you're dating a guy, look at that guy's father and the way he is and the way he treats his wife. Chances are that young man has picked up pattern of behavior from his dad, and chances are he may behave the same way to you as his father is to his wife. If you are a young gentleman and you're considering a young lady, look at that young lady's mother. What is she like? How does she treat her husband? And that may give you a clue with how she would be with you once you get married with her. So consider the other person's family. If all possible, the better a family is, there is more chance of success for their son and daughter, because a lot of times we pick up so many patterns of behavior, so many traits from our family and the way our parents relate to each other, and we begin to act out of those things that we have observed in our own family life. So don't discount the importance of the other person's family. Now, in the next 2 weeks, I was hoping to give more particular insight into, if you are a young man and you're looking for a wife, what to look for in a wife. And if you are a young lady looking for a husband, what to look for in a husband, more particular guidelines. So in the following 2 weeks, we want to kind of begin to take those issues. But one thing in a concluding thought I would say is, don't think that your life is incomplete because you are not married. Don't feel like marriage ultimately would make you happy. No. You see, no matter if you find the right spouse, even if they are the right person for you, they're gonna come with their own set of issues, with their own set of problems. But what you want is to become content and fulfilled right where you are at. If you are single, seek after God. Become godly. Be involved in using your talents and gifts at church for the Lord or outside ministry. If you are living at home, be a blessing to your parents. Help out with your parents. Help out with your sibling. If you are outside, begin to put good things into your life that you become content and happy with who you are and what your life is like. Don't feel like marriage is what you need to make you happy, because you take who you are into that marriage, into that relationship. And if you are not happy, you take who you are in that relationship. And also, you will settle for less. You see, if you be content with where you are, you can be choosy. You don't have to settle for someone when they come along. But if we feel like marriage is what I'm missing, and marriage is going to complete me, then it'd be really easy to settle for less, settle for someone that comes along, rather than for us to be choosy and to make sure, evaluate that person, that if indeed this is the right person for us or not. So be mindful of that. Become content where you are at and begin to fill your life with many good things, that even if somebody doesn't present themselves, I'm fine. But make your request known to the Lord. That, Lord, indeed I wish to be married, but I want you to select the person and bring the person in my life. And I have made a list of criteria that I would evaluate that person based on those criteria, whether to see if that's the right person or not. And if they are not, I am happy where I'm at. I don't need to be with someone. Then that way, with the Lord's help, you find someone that your relationship would be a blessing, and you want to get married one time for a lifetime. So keep these 5 principles in mind, and may the Lord guide you and direct you. May He make His face to shine upon you and give you peace. Until next time, this is David Sami with the Christian Journey.